What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are going to talk once again about the Ace of Raids, and we are going to break down each of the new tags that we'll have in the game: clubs, diamonds, hearts and spades, and take a look at which are the best characters and why, and which characters you should prioritize in order to make teams. In an upcoming video next week, whenever the raid is available, we are going to showcase all of these nodes and all of the teams. But for now, let's talk about which characters you should focus on. And in case you have to upgrade some characters between now and then, the rewards for this raid are quite amazing. They are definitely worth it. For example, if you complete one of the raids, just the daily completion, you can get up to 3 gold orbs. That's quite amazing. So this is something that you should definitely consider because the rewards are quite juicy. So like always, if you like the information on this video, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content and make sure to smash that like button. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at these GAMBIT raids. We have seen it yesterday, and this is all the characters that we have available, but it's kind of annoying to take a look at these and just see the names. You cannot visualize properly. So of course I'm at the infographic. I have individual infographics for each of the types, and in this video we're going to take a look at the infographic that has all of them together at the same time, but with pictures, of course. Now, in terms of the raid map is quite simple and quite easy to understand. So down here, these are going to be the first nodes. You are going to start here. You have 3 lanes. And on these first nodes, each of them is going to have one of those combat multipliers. Now, the combat multipliers, they are prefixed, so it's not a big deal. But depending if you are going on the left lane or if you are going on the right lane, the combat multipliers are going to be different. Now, when you go from the midsection forward, then you are going to get increased modifiers. And that's because the lanes converge. So while down here you have 3 lanes, then you are going to have only 2 lanes, and then everyone will converge on the middle lane where you'll face GAMBIT as the boss right here, and that's when all the 8 players will be available here. So this is why we have so many multipliers here, 4 multipliers here. It's because, of course, so many players are going to attack this node. Now, this is very similar like we had in the past with the Ultimus raids, like Ultimus 6 and Ultimus 7. Whenever we would face the last enemy, it would always require at least 3 or 4 players in order to complete that node. So this is going to be something very similar to what we had in the past if you played during the Ultimus 6 and Ultimus 7 raids. Okay, so as you can see right here, you have these different diamonds, and we have the clubs, and we have the spades and the hearts and so on. And that's what we are going to take a look at in this video. Here I don't think there is anything more interesting to talk about. We already talked about these multipliers. So let's take a look at this infographic, and of course you can find this on my Discord. Link will be in the description. And you cannot see it because this is on PNG, but it's art. Then you have spades, then we have diamonds, and then we have clubs. So on my Discord you'll be able to see it properly. It's just on my tablet. It always defaults to a black background. Okay, so we have a tier list for all of these characters. Let's take a look at some of these tier lists. So we have, let me see, can you see properly? No, okay, so now we can see properly. So on top we are going to have characters with highest value, and it will go to the lowest value, and then from the left to the right in terms of priority as well. So it's not only from up to down, but it's also from left to right. The characters on the left will be better than the characters on the right. Okay, so first we have Agatha Harkness. She is able to apply barrier, offense down on the enemies. She's able to apply stuns and slows. She is able to heal the team. So she provides so many things for raid situation. It's quite amazing, and depending on which enemies you are facing, you want to do the special or the ultimate first. If you have more mystic characters, you want to do that in order to receive more energy, so you can use their abilities more often. Then we have Spider-Woman. She's quite amazing. She has ability block, and she can apply offense down for 2 turns, which is very, very important in raids. And she does a chain attack, so once again she's going to apply to multiple characters. It's not as good as Agatha because Agatha applies to everyone independently if they are on chain or not. Now, in terms of Spider-Woman, she's a very fast character, so yes, even that she has a 6 energy cooldown because she's almost 130 speed, that's not going to be a big deal because she's going to be so much faster. Now we have a Dagger and we have Emma Frost. Dagger, she can also apply offense down to the enemies, she can give regeneration to the allies, and because she has such a massive health pool, those regenerations are going to heal by quite a lot. And if you pair her with Mystic characters, she's going to give more regenerations to them, but it's only for hero Mystic characters. Emma Frost, she's going to slow the enemies, and that's going to increase even more the value of characters like Spider-Woman and Dagger. They are pretty decent, but if you are able to slow the enemies, that's going to be a lot better. On B tier we have Misty Knight and Sharon Carter, and usually Sharon Carter is a better raid character, but because we don't have any of the other Secret Avengers, it's not going to be the case. She's not super fast, she gives a stun and ability block and so on, but she has some problems going on and she's quite fragile without the protection of Captain Sam. So it's going to be interesting. They are both definitely good characters. The Mystic Knight is a little bit better because if you are able to defeat any enemy, she's going to get speed up for 2 turns, and when that happens, her value will increase a lot higher than Sharon Carter. Okay, then we have Mantis. Mantis, she is one of the few raid healers, and she can also have a turn 1 stun, so that's very convenient. She heals by quite a lot, and she's also able to remove negative effects from the enemies. This is a very unconventional character, but she is actually quite decent. It just happened that she was released at the same time as Minerva, and she never got the chance of shining because of that. Okay, finally we have Gambit, Dazzler, Kitty Pryde and Ghost. These characters are not super important, and especially together with these ones, you cannot use them efficiently. Maybe you can use Gambit because he is useful on some of the other nodes as well, but it's not characters that you should prioritize. You should try to make a team out of these characters. These ones, they kind of complement, but it's going to be like the Lambs for Slaughter. You might use some of them to fill the gaps within each of the nodes. And in terms of Ghost Spider, yes, Ghost Spider, she's amazing together with the other Web Warriors. Without the other Web Warriors, she's not that good. She'll not be able to apply the blinds, she's not going to be able to give herself energy, and that's going to be a huge deal. She is almost useless. Now, Nico Minoru, she might be important in case you are facing Wakanda allies, and some of those Wakanda are going to be shooty. So if they start with defense up, then you want to use Nico Minoru in order to flip that defense up into defense down. So her value is going to be defined by which enemies you are facing. If you are facing Wakanda without Shuri, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but if you are facing Wakanda with Shuri, then Nico Minoru is going to jump forward to the B tier. Finally, we have Colin Wing, and Colin Wing together with Misty Knight and another Heroes for Hire character is very, very good because she's able to apply offense down to the enemies, but with only 2 Heroes for Hire, she's actually not that great, and this is why she's down here, because you don't have any abilities to make her look good. Okay, so now we have the Spades, and on Spades we have quite amazing characters. Morgan Le Fay, Jubilee, Deadpool, OG Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider. All of these characters are amazing in raids, so they are definitely going to be part of some kind of a team. Now we have some characters here that can be interesting as well. Scarlet Witch is not terrible, and you can use her basic to apply offense down, defense down and slow to the enemies, and that's going to be extremely useful. Then we have Thanos here that together with Deadpool can give energy, and then you can spam the special of Deadpool to spread the negative effects, like for example Morgan Le Fay applies to the enemies, or that for example Scarlet Witch applies to the enemies. So you can do basic with Scarlet Witch and then do the special with Deadpool, and you'll be able to spread a bunch of negative effects that will allow your team to be very, very strong. So Thanos, this is why Thanos this year is quite decent on that specific situation. Gambit is okay, he's not terrible, he provides a nice amount of damage, he has also some survivability, not a big deal. And then Call Obsidian and Phantom X, they are also somewhat decent together with these guys, but not super important. And finally on the F tier we have Psylocke, the Daredevil, Mr. Fantastic, and Human Torch. Unfortunately, all of these characters are quite trash, and the Psylocke, she only gives dodges and counters to uncanny X-Men, and none of these characters are uncanny. They are unlimited and astonishing. So this is why she is so low down the list, unfortunately. Okay, so that was spades. Now we have diamonds and we have clubs. Diamond and clubs, so let me see if you can see everything. Okay, so first character on diamonds is going to be Symbiote Spider-Man. Of course, Symbiote Spider-Man has amazing effects on raids. He's able to get drain out of the enemies. He has additional HP. He has all those mechanics. He also has healing on hit, similar to Scarlet Spider. So he's going to be very good. He's also able to apply 2 turns defense down to the enemies, and he also has a stun and a slow for 2 turns for everyone. So he's going to be definitely one of the best characters here. Now we are going to take a look at Magic, and Magic, she is so up here because of what she can do together with the other characters that are spread around these different tiers. She's able to give additional armor to uncanny X-Men. She's able to give barrier to all X-Men. She's able to turn rewind enemies. She's also able to give drain to X-Men characters. So that's going to increase the value of all of these characters here. And this is why GAMBIT here is on C tier, and on other places he's on D tier because he doesn't have the drain from Magic. So Magic alone is going to increase the value of all of these characters. Now, if you take a look at the B tier, we have Colossus here and we have Pyro. Pyro is representing Sunfire because Sunfire's profile picture is not in the game yet. So Colossus will have additional armor, additional barrier, and drain. Together with Sunfire, Sunfire is going to have tons and tons of damage, and applying 2 turns defense down to the enemies is going to be amazing. He's also able to apply counters that will allow Colossus to apply offense down to more enemies. So that's going to be very convenient together with Magic. After, we can complement this team with Gambit and Dazzler to make an overall 5-man team. Now we have Gamora and Nebula down here, and the reason why they are down here is because they have mostly single target damage. They have the evades, and that's nice, but we don't know exactly which enemies we are facing, so the evades might be meaningless. But they can go maybe up a tier depending on each enemies we are facing, but overall Nebula and Gamora, they are not that great in raids. They are somewhat decent, but not great because they don't have the drain from Phyla-Vell and they don't have other methods of sustaining. So I would rather focus on the X-Men characters together with the Magic. Okay, so beyond that we have Dr. Voodoo here. Dr. Voodoo, he works fine on his own together with the other characters. He can give the defense down and the ability block. He can give barrier as well. He also can steal health from the enemies. So that it's going to be important to have a sustained team that also you can plug and play Dr. Voodoo in case you need him for a specific situation, or in case one of the characters you were using before died. We have Carnage here. Carnage, while he's good together with the symbiotes, overall is not that great by himself. He needs Anti-Venom, he needs Symbiote Spider-Man, but he also needs Venom and Scream to make him go. His damage is quite low these days, and I think that is not going to be very impactful, especially on the higher difficulties. Finally, we have Strife, Deadpool, and Domino, plus Morbius. Morbius, it just does damage, so it's not going to be super important. Maybe together with Dr. Voodoo, he's going to do some drain and so on, but it's mostly meaningless. It's just food for fodder, or whatever people say. It's not going to be super relevant. Now, Deadpool and Domino, in case for some reason you have them big enough from the time they were decent on the X-Force, they might actually be somewhat interesting, because Deadpool revives all the time as long as Domino is alive, and she is going to give him a lot of dodges. So this might be a somewhat useful team that you can use on a very specific situation depending on the damage multipliers of the enemies, like you have on the Scourge event. And finally we have the clubs. Unfortunately, on the clubs is kind of the worst team, and we only have a few characters here that are decent. So we have the Silver Surfer, he's pretty decent. If you have him with the healer isolate, he can keep everyone else alive, which is quite amazing. But if you have him as a skirmisher or as a striker, it's decent as well. He's just not going to be able to have as much sustain or provide sustain to the team. But beyond that, we have Star-Lord T'Challa, we have Yondu, and we have Taskmaster. T'Challa and Yondu, they are very, very strong, especially when you start popping out the minions. The minions are super beefy and they provide a lot of abilities for the team. So this is going to increase a lot of the value of the team. So these are two characters that you should definitely focus on. Taskmaster, he can apply blinds to the enemies, he can apply stuns to the enemies, he also applies bleeds and other things. He also has a block chance, so in case you have Taskmaster built enough, he's also going to be one of the best raid characters. Now, in terms of this, once again, this is Sunfire. He's able to apply offense down to the enemies, he's able to apply counters to the allies, so those are going to be very convenient things. And the defense down that he applies to the enemies is going to increase the damage of these guys by quite a lot. And that might be good enough. You might have to use a strategy of destroying the enemies as fast as possible. The same goes for Shatterstar. He also applies defense down for 2 turns for the enemies. So as you can see, very similar things going on around here. And he can also give barrier to himself and also give defense up to himself. So even that he is a standalone X-Factor character, he's going to work together because he's able to keep himself alive. Okay, so finally for the D tier we have Gambit, we have Magneto, we have Spider-Punk, and we have Thor. And the reason why I have all these characters, it's because each of these characters has a one-trick pony situation. He can apply the ability block, he can apply the blind, he can apply the trauma, and he can apply also stuns. So maybe on a specific situation, on a specific node, you might want to use each of these characters on a different node in order to take advantage of their ultimate ability. And finally we have Phantom X, Yellow Jacket, somewhat decent depending on which other characters you have together with them. Unfortunately, you don't have the sustainability that you have together with Magic or together with Dazzler, but it's going to be somewhat okay. Once again, you want to do as much damage as possible with the club's team in order to take advantage of their benefits. And finally, we have War Machine and Loki. Once again, one-trick ponies, but these ones are kind of very, very weak. Loki early on in the match and War Machine late in the match. You could possibly, I'm not sure, but okay, you can't. I was going to say that with Yondu and the minions, you'd be able to do more damage with War Machine, but it's only hero allies, so forget about that. So yeah, those are going to be the tier list of the characters that are most important for the Gambit raids. And in some of the nodes, you are going to use these tier lists individually, but in some of the nodes, you can use 2 of them at the same time. So for example, late in the game, you are going to be able to use Spades and Diamonds at the same time. And you can make some very interesting teams out here. You can use, for example, Symbiote Spider-Man together with the OG Spider-Man and Scarlet Spider. They have synergy between them. So you can use a team together with Morgan Le Fay and, for example, Deadpool, and then you can make an uncanny unlimited team to complete the nodes. So as you can see, cool stuff. I'm very excited about the Gambit raids, and we are going to make videos about all the nodes, and we are going to test out different teams, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And you can always join me on Twitch and on YouTube, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays for Cosmic Crucible and also for Alliance Wars. If you like that type of content, make sure you show up. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. You can find all of this on my Discord. There is a section where it says Gambit Raids. You'll be able to find this and use it on your own. You can share also with your alliance if you like. So that's going to be the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you smash that like button. And if you found the information helpful, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you disagree with anything on this tier list, let me know in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it and try to perfect it as much as possible. If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I'll catch you guys later.